She stood outside the tall glass building. The building was big, shiny, and full of people with expensive clothes. She looked at her reflection in the glass. Her dress was old. Her shoes were worn out. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. People passed by her very fast. No one looked at her. It was like she was invisible. At the gate, a security guard stopped her. "Where are you going?" he asked coldly. She replied softly, "I have an interview." The guard looked at her from head to toe. His eyes stopped at her shoes. Then he smiled in a rude way. "This company is not for people like you," he said. "Go somewhere else." Her heart started beating fast. She wanted to explain. She wanted to say she was capable, but no words came out. This was not the first time. She had heard these words many times before. Everywhere she went, doors were closed. Not because she was lazy, not because she had no skills, only because she was poor. She moved away from the gate and stood near the wall. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes were full of tears, but she did not cry. She remembered her journey. She remembered walking long distances for interviews. She remembered waiting for hours. She remembered fake smiles and false hope. "We will call you," they always said. But the call never came. Today was different. This was her last chance. She had no money left, no backup plan, no support. She looked up at the building again. So many people were inside. People with power. People with respect. She asked herself one question. Am I really worthless? At that moment, inside the building, something unexpected happened. On the top floor, a man stood near the glass window. He was calm. He was confident. He was the CEO of the company. He had everything in life. Money, power, respect. But his eyes stopped at something unusual. He saw a girl standing outside. She looked small in front of the big building. She looked tired but not weak. He noticed how the guard talked to her. He noticed how she did not argue. She did not beg. She just stood quietly. The CEO felt curious. Most people outside wanted something. Money, attention, favor. But this girl was different. She looked like someone who had lost many battles, but still did not give up. Downstairs, the girl turned away from the building. She took a few steps. Each step felt heavy, like her dreams were breaking with every move. She whispered to herself, "Maybe this world is not for people like me." Just then, a voice came from behind. "Miss, wait." She stopped. Her heart skipped a beat. She slowly turned around. A man from the company stood there. He looked serious. "The CEO wants to see you," he said. Her mind went blank. The CEO? Why would a CEO want to see her? People around her stared. The guard looked shocked. She felt fear, hope, confusion. She thought, is this another rejection? Or is this something else? She took one step forward. She did not know it yet, but her life was about to change. And this was only the beginning. She followed the man inside the building. The doors closed behind her with a soft sound. The air inside felt cold and heavy. Her heart was still beating fast. But before this moment, there was a long story. A story full of pain. A story no one cared to hear. She was born in a small, poor area of the city. Her house was tiny. The roof leaked when it rained. The walls had cracks, just like her life. Her father was a kind man. He worked very hard, but his health was weak. One day, he could not work anymore. After that, everything changed. Her mother started working in houses, cleaning, washing dishes, sometimes cooking. Still, the money was never enough. Many nights, they slept hungry. Many mornings, she went to school without breakfast. But she never complained. She believed one thing. Education can change my life. She studied under a small bulb. Sometimes the light went off. Sometimes there were no books. She borrowed notes from friends. She used old pens. She reused paper. Other students laughed at her clothes. They laughed at her shoes. They called her poor. She felt hurt, but she stayed quiet. She finished her studies with good results. Her teachers praised her. They said she was smart. They said she had a bright future. She believed them. After college, she started looking for a job. She dreamed of helping her mother. She dreamed of fixing the house. She dreamed of respect. But the real world was cruel. At her first interview, the manager looked at her resume. Then he looked at her clothes. His face changed. "You don't fit our company image," he said. At another place, she waited for 3 hours. When her turn came, they said the position was filled. Some people did not even let her enter. Guards stopped her at the gate. Receptionists ignored her. She traveled across the city every day. She spent money she did not have. She walked when buses were too costly. Every rejection felt heavier than the last one. At night, she sat beside her mother. She smiled and said, "It was fine today." But inside she was breaking. Her mother looked at her with tired eyes. She said softly, "Don't give up." Those words kept her alive. One day, she had only a few coins left. Enough for one bus ride. Enough for one interview. She chose carefully. This company was famous. Very big. Very powerful. People said only rich and strong people worked there. She still applied. She prepared all night. She read her notes again and again. She practiced answers in front of a mirror. In the morning, she wore her best clothes. They were old, but clean. She looked at herself and said, "I'm more than my clothes." Then she left her house. The journey was long. The bus was crowded. She stood the whole way. When she reached the building, her legs hurt. Her heart was hopeful. But then came a guard. Then came the rejection. Standing near the wall, she remembered all her pain, all her effort, all her tears. She felt small, very small. She thought, if this door closes too, what will I do? That moment pushed her to the edge. She did not know that her struggle, her silence, and her patience had already been seen by someone important. Her past was full of loss, but her future was waiting for a turn. And that turn had just begged. She stood there for a long moment. The wall felt cold behind her back. People walked past her, busy and proud. No one noticed her pain. The guard returned to his place, already forgetting her face. For him, she was just another poor girl. She looked at the gate again. This place was her final hope. If this door closed, she had nowhere else to go. No money, no contacts, no voice, only silence. She remembered her mother's tired hands. She remembered the leaking roof. She remembered promises she had made to herself. Her chest felt tight. She wanted to scream, but she stayed quiet. Slowly, she sat down on the steps near the building. She held her bag close like it was the last thing she owned. Inside the bag were papers. Her resume. Her certificates. Proof that she was not useless. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. The sun moved slowly in the sky. Her hope was fading with the light. Inside the building, interviews were going on. Laughter came from the lobby. People with confidence spoke loudly. She felt like she did not belong to their world. A thought came to her mind. Maybe she should leave. Maybe she should stop dreaming. Life was easier without hope. She stood up again. Her legs felt weak. She took one step away from the gate. Then she stopped. Something inside her refused to move. A small voice said, "Try one last time. Even if you fail, at least you tried." She turned back and walked to the reception desk. Her voice was low, but clear. "I have an interview today," she said. The receptionist looked at her without interest. She typed something and shook her head. "Your name is not on the list," she replied. Her heart sank. "There must be a mistake," the girl said softly. "I received an email." The receptionist sighed. She checked again, slowly. "Wait there," she said, pointing to a chair. The girl sat down. Her hands were cold. Her mind was full of fear. She watched people being called inside. One by one, names were announced. Her name never came. Each time the door opened, her heart jumped. Each time it closed, her hope broke a little more. After a long wait, the receptionist stood up. "You can go now," she said. "The interviews are finished." That was it. The last door was closed. The girl stood up quietly. She did not argue. She did not beg. She picked up her bag and walked toward the exit. Tears blurred her eyes, but she kept walking. She did not want anyone to see her cry. As she reached the door, she whispered, "I tried." At that same moment, far above her, the CEO was still thinking about the girl he had seen earlier. He had asked about her interview status. No one had a clear answer. Something did not feel right to him. He pressed a button and spoke calmly. "Stop that girl before she leaves." Downstairs, just as the door was about to close, a voice called out, "Miss, please wait." She froze. She turned slowly, her heart racing. For the third time that day, her life stood between hope and loss. She did not know why she stopped. Her feet felt heavy, like they were tied to the floor. People around her watched with quiet curiosity. The guard stepped forward, confused. The receptionist looked surprised. No one understood why this moment mattered. The girl took a deep breath. Fear and courage mixed inside her. She wiped her tears quickly, lifting her head. Whatever was about to happen, she would face it with dignity. She had nothing left to lose, but maybe, just maybe, she still had one chance to be seen. That single pause would soon decide her future and change everything she believed about herself forever completely. She followed the man through the hallway. The floor shined under her feet. Every step echoed in her ears. Her heart was loud inside her chest. She kept asking herself one question. Why would a CEO want to see her? People stared as she walked past. Some looked curious. Some looked confused. Some looked down at her clothes and smiled quietly. She felt small again, but she kept walking. They stopped in front of a large door. The man knocked once and opened it. "Sir, she is here," he said. The room was quiet, very quiet. The CEO stood near the window. The city was spread behind him. Tall buildings, fast lives, big dreams. He turned slowly and looked at her. His eyes were calm. Not cold, not kind, just calm. "Please sit," he said. She sat down carefully. Her hands rested on her bag. Her fingers were tight. She felt like she was being tested without questions. The CEO did not speak for a moment. He looked at her papers. He looked at her face. He noticed her tired eyes. He noticed her clean but old clothes. He noticed her silence. "Do you know why you are here?" he asked. She shook her head. "No, sir." He nodded. "I saw you outside." Her heart skipped. "I saw how you were stopped," he continued. "I saw how you waited. And I saw how you were ready to leave." She looked down. Shame filled her chest. "Tell me," he said softly, "why did you not argue?" She thought for a second. Then she spoke honestly. "Because I'm tired of arguing," she said. "I just wanted one fair chance." The room felt heavier. The CEO leaned back slightly. He watched her closely. "Many people come here with big words," he said. "They speak loudly. They demand respect." He paused. "But you stayed quiet." She looked up slowly. "Being loud never opened doors for me," she replied. Something changed in his eyes. He picked up a resume. "Your results are good," he said. "Your background is not easy." She nodded. "Nothing was easy, sir." "Why do you want this job?" he asked. She answered without thinking. "To change my life and my mother's life." He looked at her for a long moment. "Do you think you deserve to be here?" he asked. Her voice shook, but she answered. "Yes, sir. Not because I am rich, but because I work hard." Silence filled the room again. The CEO stood up and walked toward the window. He spoke while looking outside. "When I was young," he said, "I was also ignored." She listened carefully. "No one believed in me," he continued. "People only saw what I did not have." He turned back to her. "Today people see my success, not my struggle." Her eyes widened. He walked closer. "This company does not need perfect clothes," he said. "It needs strong minds." Her breath stopped. He placed her resume on the table. "I don't promise easy days," he said, "but I promise one thing." She waited. "You will not be judged by your past here." Tears filled her eyes. "This is not pity," he added. "This is opportunity." She stood up slowly, unable to speak. The CEO nodded once. "Welcome," he said. In that moment, the poor girl outside the gate disappeared. A new journey had begun. Her hands were shaking as she left the office. The door closed softly behind her, but her mind was loud. Every word the CEO said repeated again and again. She was still not sure if it was real or just a dream. She walked slowly through the hallway. People who ignored her before now looked at her differently. Some whispered. Some stared. She kept her eyes down. She did not know how to react. The man who brought her upstairs walked beside her. "HR will explain everything," he said. She nodded quietly. Inside the HR room, she sat on a chair. The walls were white. The lights were bright. Her heart was still heavy with fear. She waited for the rejection she knew so well, but never came. Instead, the woman at the desk smiled. "Congratulations," she said. "You are selected." Those words felt unreal. Selected. She wanted to ask many questions, but her voice was stuck. She only said, "Thank you." She signed the papers with careful hands. Each signature felt like a promise to herself, a promise to her mother, a promise to never forget where she came from. When she walked out of the building, the sun felt warmer. The same gate, the same steps, but she was not the same person. The guard looked at her. This time he stepped aside. She did not smile. She did not feel proud. She just felt relief. That evening, she went home with slow steps. The road felt long, but her heart felt light. When she opened the door, her mother looked up. "You're early," her mother said. She stood there for a moment. Then she spoke softly. "I got the job." Her mother froze. Then her eyes filled with tears. She walked forward and hugged her daughter tightly. "I knew it," she whispered. "I knew one day someone would see you." That night, the girl could not sleep. Fear returned quietly. What if she failed? What if she was not good enough? The doubts did not disappear with success. The next morning, she reached the office early. Very early. The building looked different now. Less scary. More welcoming. She was given a small desk. A simple computer. Simple work. Some people ignored her. Some looked curious. Some looked doubtful. She worked silently. She listened more than she spoke. She learned quickly. She stayed late. She came early. Not to impress anyone, but because she respected the chance she was given. Days passed. Mistakes happened. She learned from them. She never blamed others. She never complained. Slowly, people noticed. Her manager noticed her focus. Her team noticed her honesty. Her work spoke louder than her clothes. One day, during a meeting, she shared an idea. The room went quiet. People looked surprised. The idea worked. After that, things changed. People started asking her opinion. They called her by name. They listened. The CEO watched from a distance. He said nothing. He just observed. One evening, as she packed her bag, she looked around. The same office that once rejected her now felt familiar. She understood something important. Opportunity opens the door, but effort keeps it open. Her journey was not over. This was only the first step. But for the first time in her life, she was walking forward with confidence, not fear. Months passed quietly. The girl was no longer invisible. She walked into the office with confidence. Her clothes were still simple, but her posture was strong. She had changed from the inside. She worked harder than anyone expected. She learned new skills every day. When others complained, she stayed focused. When work was difficult, she stayed calm. She remembered where she came from. Her mother's life slowly improved. There was food on the table. The roof no longer leaked. For the first time, her mother smiled without worry. The girl watched this change with grateful eyes. At work, challenges came often. Some people doubted her. Some whispered behind her back. They said she was lucky. They said the CEO favored her. She did not answer them. She answered with her work. One day, a big project failed. The team was confused. Pressure filled the office. Managers argued. Everyone looked scared. She spoke up. Her voice was steady. Her idea was clear. She offered a solution no one else saw. The room went silent. The manager hesitated, then agreed to try her plan. It worked. The project was saved. That day, people clapped for her. Not because she was poor, not because she was lucky, but because she was capable. The CEO called her to his office again. This time, she walked in without fear. "I was right about you," he said. She smiled softly. "You did not change because of this company," he continued. "You were already strong." He offered her a promotion. She accepted with humility. Her story spread quietly through the office. The girl once stopped at the gate was now respected inside the building. The same guard who rejected her now greeted her politely. She greeted him back without anger. She never forgot the pain. She never forgot the rejection. It reminded her to stay kind. One evening, she stood outside the same building. She looked at the glass doors. She saw her reflection again. This time, she smiled. Not because she was successful, but because she survived. She understood something important. The world judges quickly. It sees clothes, money, and status. It ignores effort, patience, and heart. But time reveals truth. She was rejected everywhere once. Not because she lacked value, but because the world failed to see it. All it took was one person, one moment, one chance. She became that chance for others. Whenever she saw someone ignored, she listened. Whenever she saw someone struggling, she helped. She did not save people. She respected them. Her life was no longer just her own story. It became a message. Never measure yourself by rejection. Never let poverty define your worth. Never stop knocking on doors. Because sometimes the last door is not closed. Sometimes it is waiting for you to believe in yourself. And when you do, everything changes.